Welcome to Data Skeptic. Our new season kicks off next week. The voting is closed, the vote is in, and the next episode in the feed will reveal what that theme is. For today, I've got two special segments for you. First, Linhda joins the show to help me review the results of the voting. She gives me some feedback on the survey methodology, and we talk through the broad strokes of each of these themes we were considering. Second, I'm premiering a new segment on the show. It's called Orders of Magnitude. It's a statistical game show. It will be part of Data Skeptic going forward, not every episode, just sprinkled here and there, and this is our pilot for that. Stick around for the second half to check it out. Well, hey, Linhda, welcome back to the podcast.
Hello.
We recently asked listeners to vote on the next topic we should do, and I'm going to ask you to take the survey as well and get your feedback live, if you'll humor me. Would you go to dataskeptic.com/vote?
Okay, it's loading.
All right, you're going to be presented with the concepts we presented to listeners. Maybe you could read out the title. You don't necessarily have to read the description, but share your thoughts on each of these as you look at them.
Well, it says Data Skeptic next. We hope you've enjoyed Data Skeptic Consensus. Now help us decide what comes next. First, we'd like to ask you about each theme. Lastly, we'll ask you for your vote. Okay, you want me to read each question?
Just tell listeners they've hopefully already voted. What was the category? And the question that gets asked is, how compelling do you think this category was? So based on the blurb, you can skim, and just your thoughts on that topic. What would you rate each of these?
Okay, the first one says conspiracy.
Ooh.
So this is what we think is in the future. None of these have happened.
Correct. These are starting probably, very soon. One of these will be the new theme, and this is one of the options.
Well, it says one of the examples you gave is what's it like to submit an FOIA request? Since I don't know what that means, I don't really have any idea what kind of theories you would discuss. So I'm just going to say a 5 since in the middle.
Well, if you were in the lingo, you'd call it a FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act.
Okay. Well, submitting a Freedom of Information Act, what does that have to do with conspiracies?
Oh, well, mainly because conspiracy people are always submitting those like they want to know what some senator had for lunch because they're trying to find a connection to something, Or, give me everything on UFOs that you have, that kind of thing. But it is a legitimate process a person conduct regular civic business with. So I thought I might file one just to learn about it.
So you have a conspiracy to file?
No.
FOIA.
No, I wanted to do a more legitimate one for a non-spurious reason. But it falls under conspiracy because they file a lot of FOIA requests. So I would want to learn more about the FOIA system.
Well, I don't know. If you're the data person, show me the data that conspiracy people are filing these. And what numbers compared to the general population.
Well, that would be neat, too. I would like to find out, I don't know how you'd get this from the government. Oh, I want to do a FOIA about FOIAs. What are the reasons people are FOIA-ing?
Yeah, why? And does it prove any change?
So you said 5. What's it now that you know about FOIAs?
Well, I still don't really know. I haven't heard of any conspiracy.
Well, there are very few that are real. That's the problem.
It doesn't really sound like we're discussing conspiracies. So it just sounds like you're talking about a cult, but like a group of people. So I'm still not hearing conspiracies. I haven't heard not a single conspiracy.
Neither have I. That's part of the problem. Maybe we should move on to the next one.
Okay, well, that's a 5. It's kind of odd. There's not a middle of the road. Like you could pick 5 or 6.
That's right. I did that way.
Oh, I don't like it. I'm just randomly picking one.
No, you're not. Okay. You picked 5. That was far from random.
Next one, rare events. Okay, I like rare events. You said actuaries and insurance companies need to consider rare events when evaluating risk. I need to constantly evaluate risk when we're buying like home insurance and whatnot. I need to know how much coverage should I get that's too much or not enough.
Oh, a ray of hope finally. After conspiracies, we landed somewhere decent.
I find this very compelling. Rare events, they're very destructive to our livelihood. That's why people get life insurance, because if someone dies, you're literally like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So rare events may be rare, but they're catastrophic. So yes, this is life-changing.
All right, 1 to 10 scale?
10.
Whoa, okay.
I
Well,
need to know more about rare events.
all right, well, there's a couple more of these, so don't get too excited. Maybe
Yeah, like an
you have
earthquake.
left
We
no,
live in
listen,
California. We live in
you,
California. We need to know what is the likelihood of this earthquake. No one has been able to give me an answer.
you can't put 10,
Which fault line?
San Andreas. You've left me no room to blow your mind on the future topics if you put 10.
Well, there could be multiple tens. Why do all of them have to be less than or
It
whatever in a
doesn't go
rank
to
order?
11. Anyway,
You don't have to rank it. Once I give you 10, if I gave you 10 tens, it's up to you to decide what to do.
you got that right.
That's not my problem to rank them. You didn't put this in a rank order. You didn't say put all the topics in order 1 through 5 or how many. You
You know
didn't
what's
say
funny?
that.
You should ask that. My original intent was to do rank order voting because we talked about it so much during consensus. But next time we will. Long story short, just technology limits. I had to keep it simple.
Yeah, well, I can tell because you're asking me to rank it. And I was like, well, that's not my problem. You set this up. It's by design.
Yeah. Well, it's just a measurement. Let's move on to the next one.
Data skeptic. Social media.
Yes.
You're talking about the algorithms and approaches for services such as friend recommendations, content prioritization, and ad targeting.
Yeah, social networks use a lot of data science and machine learning techniques. It's all over the place.
I mean, this is important just because, of the business I'm in. I'm in B2C, business to customers, as in selling stuff to people, and social media is the paid advertising on social media is the number one way many people are doing business, including the business I'm in. So I guess I'd do that like an 8. However, I'm not going to go to 10 because I don't really know if anything you're going to put out there is different than what's out there. Like if I
Okay.
Google it, is it really going to be unique, interesting, and going to help me in my job? I don't know.
Good question. Yep.
You could just put stuff out there and I could read
Well,
it and I might be like, yeah, that's not helpful, not interesting, and not useful.
well, for sure, I can do good stuff on graph algorithms. I wouldn't be the first podcast ever, but I'm confident I could bring some unique thoughts to the forefront.
Well, what I would be interested in learning about is how it differs today versus a year ago.
Why specific? Just in terms of that life is incremental, or the last year in particular?
Just in general, like for example, TikTok has taken off. Do you, from a data science perspective, have an opinion why TikTok is highlighting different content compared to Instagram, compared to whatnot? And why is it taken off given and how does algorithms contribute to this?
That's right on the nose there, Linda.
It has to be compared though to Instagram and Facebook though,
Of
and how
course,
their
yes,
algorithms are different.
right. Those are the counterfactuals.
I need like tangible learnings about each of the platforms and why it's different.
Yeah, now you're getting it. See, that's what the kind of stuff I would research for that season. So, did you score it?
I said an 8.
That was the 8. Yeah.
Okay, time series. We've talked about time series.
Yes, it's come up on the show. This will be a formal, the series on time series, the time series.
Yeah, it just says this will explore the methods and industry applications of time series. I don't really know if what you're going to talk about is useful or applicable to the work I do.
Fair enough.
You said you will industry applications, but you didn't mention what industry. So,
Oh, any industry. Time series comes up everywhere.
okay, well, how does it relate to, I work at Fab Fit Fun. So tell me more.
Well, tell the listeners what your primary product is.
We are a lifestyle company known for a subscription box that comes quarterly.
Yeah, so that subscription, you have to model out a variety of things. One, things about your customer base, how long they will remain subscribers for. Is it longer if they're from Facebook versus TikTok? Those types of questions. Probably inventory things as well, because as your inventory depletes, you want to predict the point at which it'll go to zero. Anything where there's data that's measured in some sequential way, some changing signal or some metric of some kind that you want to observe over time, time series comes up.
But is what you have to discuss new, different, applicable?
Depends on your definitions of those words. I would say yes to all. That's really what we do on the show. We cover a lot of new, but there's some classic things to get into as well. applicable will be case by case, and then hopefully interesting for the air, right? So I don't want to just talk to somebody who's like, yeah, we forecast, gold bullion futures, but it would be neat to know more about energy forecasting or maybe like how schools forecast how many students they're going to have, stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really, you haven't really convinced me that something new is going to happen.
Alrighty?
3, it's not like it's going to change my
Three.
life. If you're
Okay.
going to tell me about time series, it's not going to change my life. It doesn't sound like.
Worse than you'd rather have conspiracies than time series.
Yeah, because at least that's weird and quirky.
All right.
Time series, no one's gonna be like, Linda, what'd you do over the weekend? Oh, time series. No one's gonna ask a follow up. They're gonna be like, that's nice, bye.
What did you pick rare events? Somebody says, what did you do over the weekend? I did rare events.
Well, they're gonna ask a follow up. If you did conspiracies, people would be like, I need to know. They would be like, I need to know a follow up. I need to learn more. But time series, they'd be like, nah, you're good. Keep going. They're gonna start talking about their weekend.
All right.
Okay, pandemic. First of all, I'm pretty sure that the coronavirus was tracked back as far as October. So I don't know where you're getting your facts, Data Skeptic.
Wikipedia.
So you said, how do clinical trials run?
That would be one interesting thing to cover.
I mean, this is useful just because it's the pandemic. My question is, did you wait too long to talk about it? Because we're already a year in, right?
Sure.
So I just wonder if it might have been more useful months ago. But yeah, I mean, I rate this a 10. This is applicable.
A
This
10,
would have
wow.
real impact on my life.
Well, now is the last question. It asks you to pick your top.
I don't know. It's kind of like between rare events and pandemic.
Okay.
Because the pandemic is a rare event. So
Yeah.
technically, I don't really think they have to be different.
Fair enough. Yep.
Are you going to talk about the pandemic in the rare events?
It could come up, but it would be like an episode or maybe two. It wouldn't be a focal point. Rare events is more of a menagerie of concepts.
Well, do you think the pandemic is a rare event?
It's not that rare actually when you start looking, right? But yes, it's rare by a lot of definitions.
A pandemic of this magnitude.
Well, you look on the long enough time scale, it's quite ordinary.
Well, what do you consider ordinary?
Occurs regularly.
Right. So what's regular to you?
Well, that depends on the time series data. We had the 1918. That was a big one people point to. SARS and MERS, of course. These are the more global ones, but there's a long history of humans' relationships with various viruses.
I mean, if we're just looking about what happened most recently, I mean, war is obviously more frequent than the pandemic. Depends whether we think war is frequent or not frequent. But I mean, really, you're tying in multiple things because I was talking about rare events,
Yeah.
and then you mentioned the pandemic and the time series. So I'm just not going to answer this question.
You're
I'm just
abstaining?
going to let you guys decide because I think a rare event is the pandemic. So I'm
You're not
not
wrong.
going to pick one over the other.
Well, it's the overarching theme that we're going to have on the show.
Yeah, I just don't know. Oh gosh, I tried not to pick something, but my mouse randomly picked pandemic, so I'm just going to go with that.
It was not going to let you submit your vote without a thing. We were going to count you
There
as
you go.
invalid.
So
And
randomly selected the pandemic.
well, I'll let you know when the vote concludes. Actually, this will probably air after it's concluded. Perhaps I'll check in with you to see if you what your thoughts are. Rare Events has been popping in and out of first place, though. I will say that as you track it.
So I'm allowed to submit multiple responses here.
Technically, yes. Although I can see them all, so if there's any funny business, I might, do some deduping.
Well, why don't you tell me which one's leading? You can look at the results now.
It's actually a tie right now.
Oh, see, this is why I refuse to vote. Okay, so what's
You
the
could
tie between?
see this is your one chance, Linda, and you blew it. In your
What?
whole life, every election, your vote, whatever, one amongst
What's
millions.
the tie? What's the tie?
Between rare events and time series.
What?
Yes.
People are more interested in time series than the pandemic. And
Yes.
how many votes? How many people participated? Or how many times, since you can't tell?
98 votes.
Pretty high number. Now, it could mean someone just got really excited and
No,
just
no.
submitted it over and over again.
I looked at that, and I also expect Data Skeptic listeners to be much more brazen if they're going to go to that length. They got to do like 100, with their bot.
Okay, so I got one of the two most popular were aligned. So what about pandemic? Where does the pandemic fall?
Hold on, let me pull it back up. Oh, wait, sorry. It's 106 responses, and we remain tied, actually. Rare events and time series. Pandemic is in last place at only 10.4% of the votes.
Wow. Okay. Well, I guess maybe people are just tired of hearing about the pandemic.
I felt the same way, too. That was just like I put it out there to test the waters in case there was some groundswell for it. But I was like, I think we can move
Well,
forward.
there you go. The people have spoken. Only me is interested in the pandemic.
No, that's not correct at all. 10.4% of respondents would like to hear that as our next theme.
Okay, well, that's not bad, but the fact that it's in last place is bad. So,
Out of five,
leads me
though.
to believe you should not do the pandemic. So, was it random order for everyone?
No, it was not randomized.
Oh, you guys should have randomized that.
Yeah,
I thought you were the data
and I'm
scientist.
the
You're
one who
data
taught you these methodological tricks. Yes.
And you didn't randomize the order because I think if you had done it in different order or put them all on one page, people would have a different reaction.
People can revote if they feel that strongly. Because the last question, the one that matters, which will you vote, they've already seen all of them. The compelling questions are just there to be there.
Yeah, but at that point, people are like, I don't know if I remember. I'm just going to pick random. My mouse will pick for me.
Well, thank you for participating in our survey, Linda, or our voting. Your voting counts the same as everybody else's. So we're neck and neck. I thought you and I could announce, because originally when I asked you to do this, I thought that we had a clear winner. Now it's neck and neck, but
I'm pretty sure my guess is the one that I picked, which is the rare events. So I'm going to think that will pull ahead.
I like how you just switched your answer there. The one you picked was pandemic, but
Well, that was the one my mouse picked. I didn't want to pick between, if you have two children that you love, if you're the parent, you can't like pick which one you love more.
sure you can, the older one.
No, I'm the younger one, so they would definitely choose the younger. And by the way, you're not the older one, so that you're basically saying they never loved you. Is that what you're saying?
No, just giving you a quick rule. Well, anyway, thanks for going through these with me, Linda. I do like getting listener feedback, though, so I'm glad we did this, and we're going to continue to explore how to gauge interest.
Okay.
Well, thanks again,
Have a
Linda.
great night.
Small businesses have always shown an incredible ability to adapt, innovate, and survive, even more so this past year. Now, another way you can adapt and grow is by finding the right people to join your team. LinkedIn Jobs can help you do that for free. Get started with your first job post and reach LinkedIn's network of 740 million professionals. Everyone's on LinkedIn. Go straight to the source. Fill out targeted screening questions to get your role in front of the most qualified candidates with the experience, skills, and motivation you need. Then, with simple filtering and management tools, you can easily review, rate, and hone in on your top candidates. I've used LinkedIn Jobs a number of times and have hired people that way. Reach all those people and put in good screening questions that you control. It would be negligent for you to not do this if your company's looking to hire. Head over to linkedin.com/dataskeptic. LinkedIn Jobs can help you hire the right person for your role, and the first job is free. That's linkedin.com/dataskeptic. Terms and conditions apply. This segment, orders of magnitude. This is going to be a guest segment, so I've brought on two collaborators here. I think this is the first time you've both been on the air. Is that right?
Yeah, since the live stream.
Oh, that's right. Yes. But on the podcast itself, your voices may be new, not your names, but why don't we start with Claudia? Go ahead and introduce yourself, and I'll ask you, in addition to your name, the thing I'm going to ask guests as they come on orders of magnitude. Our little game show segment here is, would you tell us your relationship, if anything, to data science as a topic of study?
So my name is Claudia. I am the podcast editor slash producer for Data Skeptic. And I would say one of my connections loosely to data science besides the show would be in college studying music theory. We went through an atonal section, which is pretty much composers take the 12-tone scale and attach a number to each note and kind of randomize it in different ways, and then take little chunks from the 12 tones and randomize those, and then kind of put them in different sequences throughout the piece, randomly or well thought out, kind of different numbers, different notes. So I think that's kind of data science-y, little sequence and numbers.
Yep, non-deterministic systems. How about you, Vanessa?
Hey, I'm Vanessa. Hear my name at the end of the podcast because I'm the one that reaches out and gets the guests on the show. So that's really fun for me to look at all these crazy topics. So my relation to data science, which when I first started working here, I didn't know it, like really what data science even was. But now I'm going and applying it to, trying to at least apply it to my other job, which is working for a nonprofit organization and trying to use automation to maximize our engagement with our people. So I'm really excited about that. And also, I've been trying to analyze some Data Skeptic podcast data to create a cool art piece for our podcast cover that may or may not show up. So we'll find out. I think that's what I've been doing. I'm trying to get into it.
Awesome. All right, well, I appreciate you both coming on and being the victims for this first experimental segment of our little game show. We're going to probably conclude episodes with now and again. I call it orders of magnitude, which I guess should demand some definition in and of itself. First, do you guys know what an order of magnitude is?
Not really.
Basically, the shorthand is it's off by multiplying by 10 or dividing by 10, maybe a couple of times. So, for example, if I said the human body averages 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, that's the truth. That's not off. But if I said it averages 986 degrees Fahrenheit, that would be off by one order of magnitude because it's times 10. Or similarly, if I said the average temperature of the human body is 9.86 degrees, that's off in the other direction, one order of magnitude too small. Now, orders of magnitude tend to be a big deal. For example, having $100,000 is very nice. Having $1 million is a lot nicer. Having $1 billion is even better than that. So during orders of magnitude, I'm going to present a couple of facts, and I'll probably, in most occasions, give you the source. For example, one of them, the source is going to be all Wikipedia data, so we could verify it that way. I'm going to tell you 4 facts, one of which is the absolute truth. The other 3 are off by at least one order of magnitude. So they're times 10 divided by 10, maybe times 100 or divided by 100, we'll see. And your job as panelists is to reason this out and figure out which one is the true statistic and which are the fakes. Let's jump in and do one I know you guys will have the background for. This is all about heights. I'm going to give the heights in feet. You're welcome to use a calculator, do any arithmetic you want, and if the audience complains enough, we'll start listing them in meters as well as feet. This is about the height of things. A building I know fondly as the Sears Tower, although Wikipedia insists it's called the Willis Tower. Its height, again, this may or may not be the truth, but the number I'm going to give you, it's 14,500 feet tall. Next potential fact. The Eiffel Tower in Paris is 1,063 feet tall. The Pyramid of Giza, the big one, the tallest one there in Egypt, is 4,810 feet tall. And for the fourth one, we're going to skip to miles. The International Space Station is 25.4 miles above the surface of the planet. So there we have 4 heights. The height of the Sears Tower, the Eiffel Tower, the Pyramid at Giza, and the International Space Station. Talk amongst yourselves. What do you have any instincts here? And remember, you're sort of competing, so you may want to talk strategically.
I feel like, well, I'm 5'6". So how many of me is... I feel like I have such a bad frame of reference for height.
Oh, me too. The number reference I was never good at, but
I know. Let's see.
So maybe this is more a test of my question writing abilities than the format. We'll find out.
did you say the space station was 24 miles above
25.4 miles, yes.
above the Earth?
Above the surface.
I feel like that's a low number, but maybe I just don't know miles.
That's the nature of the game, though. If it seems low to you, maybe that one's off.
How high are we when we're on an airplane? That's a good frame of reference, right? Do we know?
Well, there's 1,000 feet in a mile, right?
So, okay, good point. This is something, it's more than, I'm going to give you the number. This is not a game show intended to test your memorization skills of like units of measure. Anything you can find in your kitchen, you can use on the show. Cups to ounces, whatever. I will give you feet to miles. I believe it's 5,280. Let's see. Yes, 5,280.
I thought that I figured out how to figure this out, but that's a little harder than I thought.
Well, here's a strategy I'll share. Think of the numbers I'm giving you up or down. So I said it's the space station's 25.4 miles up. Does it sound right if it was only 2.54 miles up? Alternatively, does 254 miles sound right?
That's what I was thinking of trying to do, like over-unders for all of these. See, I've never seen the Eiffel Tower or Pyramid of Giza in person, but I also don't know how tall 14,000 feet is.
14,000. That's really high.
Yeah, I know. I think I know which one. I think I made a guess, but I don't know. I think I made a good guess.
How do we? So do I just tell you my answer?
Here's what we're going to do. So we have two guests today, and I have three questions. So each of you will have to go first in one round because the second person obviously potentially has an advantage. And the third will give to whoever is behind if someone is not in the lead. Otherwise, I'll flip a coin. So with that in mind, Claudia, why don't you go first? Which of these four items do you believe is correct?
I think it's the Eiffel Tower.
I also think it's the Eiffel Tower.
You were both right. The Eiffel Tower is 1,063 feet tall.
Oh, yay!
Willis Tower or the Sears Tower was an order of magnitude too high, only 1,450 feet. The pyramids at Giza are only 481 feet tall, and the ISS is 254 miles up in space. All right, let's move on. As many listeners know, my wife and I have a pet bird, Yoshi. So the theme for the second round of questions here is going to be birds. All right, first fact. There are approximately 978.7 living species of birds. There is an estimated 200 to 400 billion living individual birds currently alive on planet Earth. Next, there are 2 million pet birds in the United States. And the last one is a range. It's a pretty big range, actually, but I think that's good for orders of magnitude. They estimate that there are between 9.7 million and 97.6 million bird deaths due to smashing into windows. This is the number one cause of death for birds. So I will give you the U.S. population as a reference population. It is 350 million people, give or take. Vanessa, pick out the truthful statistic.
I think that there are 978.7 living species.
Okay. What do you think, Claudia?
Yeah, I think it's the 978 living species.
Well, then I'm counting that as a point for me because that is a fiction. It's an off by one order of magnitude. You can guess which way. There are actually 9,789 known living species of birds. Birds are surprisingly speciated.
I thought that there would be a lot, but that already seemed like a lot. But
Yeah, that did seem like a lot to me.
to me, I feel like the one that I ruled out was the window one because I'm like, how do they count how many birds die in the window? Like, how are they taking that data? I don't know.
Good question. So I don't have that answer for you here, but that might be worth an interesting follow-up. The statistics I found, that'll be in the show notes. I can bring up the actual page. Maybe I'll say it here. They leave a really wide window. The correct, truthful answer is they estimate there are between 97 million and 976 million bird deaths by window collisions, which, in light of the second item that there are 200 to 400 billion birds in the world, is truth. That was the correct one you guys were looking for. Keeping that in mind, it means that percentage-wise, well, I mean, I love birds, so I don't want to hear about any birds dying by, man-made collisions. But on the grand scheme of things, it's not the epidemic, perhaps, that it sounds like. But yeah, something I would hope people try and help. 97 million estimated on the low end. And that also tells us that the pets one is an order of magnitude off. There are not 2 million bird pets in the U.S., there are 20 million.
Wow, God, these are big numbers. A lot of birds.
I think I don't realize maybe there's birds that I don't know are birds.
Well, I think you might be underestimating parakeets. I bet there's at least a couple parakeets on your block. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. I think I have like 6 students who have at least 3 in their home each.
Sure.
Oh my gosh. I guess that adds up.
Yeah, and that's before you even get into more exotics. I got that particular number from statistica.com, who has been trailing this since the year 2000. 2017 was the most recent year available at 20.6 million birds per the U.S. All right, on to our final category. I guess you guys are tied with 1 point, and I'm going to give myself a point. Apparently, I can score in this game when I sweep you guys. So I will pull up a random number, an integer. Vanessa, you tell me if you think it's odd or even. If you get it right, you get to go second.
I'm going to say odd.
Incorrect. You will go first. This is about the volume of data generated, our last category. The data generated by each person is 1.7 megabytes per second per person. Second one, every day, 950 million photos and videos are uploaded to Instagram. Potential fact number 3, every day, 35 million photos are uploaded to Facebook. And the last one, every day, there are 500 billion tweets published on Twitter. What do you think, Vanessa?
The photos to Facebook. 35 million photos to Facebook per day. That's my guess.
950 million Instagram videos and photos.
All right, so we have a split. Vanessa, you believe it's the case that there are 35 million photos uploaded to Facebook every day. Claudia, you believe that 950 million videos and photos are uploaded to Instagram every day? All right. Well, let's take it in reverse order. I had stated there are 500 billion tweets per day. That is incorrect. There are 500 million tweets per day, off by 3 orders of magnitude. Let's start with Facebook. Vanessa, you thought it was 35 million photos uploaded per day. It's actually 350 million uploaded per day, off by 1 order of magnitude.
Wow, that's a lot.
Everybody's uploading their whole photo albums to Facebook.
I know, but yeah.
Claudia, you thought that there were 950 million Instagram photos and videos uploaded per day. Also off by an order of magnitude, this time too big, 95 million. And that, of course, leaves us with Domo's estimate that 1.7 megabytes of data produced per person per second.
Interesting. I was trying to do the math, like how many megabytes are in a gigabyte. I was trying to do the math to see if it made sense to me. That's interesting. There's more photos uploaded to Facebook than Instagram. But you know what? Because you can upload whole albums to Facebook.
Yeah, you can upload like 100 photos at a time.
Yeah, that's true.
Man, I thought about the data one. I was going to say that one. I need to go with my gut.
I was legit doing the math. And then I got distracted and started doing the math to find out how many megabytes I create, like doing an 8-hour wedding. It's like 30,000 megabytes that I make.
Oh, good way of estimating, yeah. All right, well, we'll call this one a draw since you both close out with 1 point here. I was going to maybe have a prize segment one day, but for now, I think that's our first installment of Orders of Magnitude. Thanks for participating.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.